Welcome to the Modern Stock Car Cup Tour. In race 16 out of 28 in our third season, we bring you the CapitalOne 500 from Martinsville Speedway, the paperclip track in the middle of Virginia. That's just 0.625 miles long. Ryan Adema stands on the pole today as he won this race last year after leading 120 of the 150 laps. It's time for the starting lineup. In row 1 is Ryan Adema and Dan Wilkins. Row 2 is Luis Aguilar and Darian Arnsdorf. Row 3 is Riley Wedge and Kyle Driscoll. Row 4 is Creed Daniel and Armin Salvador. Row 5 is last week's winner Doug Doering, who led at Dover and got his first win of the season, the third of his career, and Amelia Nielsen to his outside. Row 6 is Nolo Hamilton and Logan Williams. Row 7 is Chase Buck and Chris Lattimore. Row 8 is Jacob Thibodeau and Molly Fleming. Row 9 is Sarah Feng, the South Boston winner at the last short track we had, and Daniel Rivera. Row 10 is Zachary Jones, Darlington winner, and Brandon Allen. Row 11 is Matthew Green and Christian Coppola. Row 12 is Donna Wilkins and Charlotte Kelly. Row 13 is Carlos Rex and Sam Joseph. Row 14 is Echo Ross and Brennan Wilmington. Row 15 is Caleb Marinelli and Nelson Reeves. Row 16 is Rasha Mahendra and Bronny Martin. Row 17 is Kylan Fleming and Santiago Alvarez. Row 18 is J.J. Yu and Felipe Ford. Row 19 is Aiden Segal and Hunter Walker. Row 20 is Jesse Owens Jr., who had a minor problem in qualifying but was able to correct himself and put himself in position number 40. And then in the inside of row 40 is Adeline Galvin. And then row 21, to wrap it up, is Leland Hill and Dakota Bennett. So for these two guys on the front, the 92 and the 00, both have wins this year, both have one each, although the 92 itself has two wins, as we talked about. Zachary Jones, who was the backup driver for Ryan Adema, in the 92, he won his first career start at Darlington and then got a full-time cup ride in the number 45 with his own team, USA Motorsports, the native of Wichita, Kansas. But he is starting in 20th today, so he'll have to work his way up through the field. But for Ryan Adema, this is a good start for him. He started outside the top 5 in his last start at this racetrack. He started in 7th. But then, after a unlucky black flag from David Iller, who was the pole sitter, miraculously enough, after 30 laps, Adema took the lead and never gave it up. He led by 7 seconds when the checkered flag was flown over, I believe it was Carlos Rex, who was in second place that day. But his teammate, Doug Doering, finished 14th in his first career race. He finished 29th in the event before that at Charlotte, and then got his first top 15 despite being a lap down. Only 13 cars finished on the lead lap in the Season 2 Martinsville race. We'll see if there's more today, although this track has the record for most cautions in a race and also most combined cautions in total in MSCCT history. Season 1 had 10 cautions as Abel DeMarco led the field to a victory, and then in Season 2, in Ryan Adema's first career win, as we talked about, he had 14 cautions, which took over 40% of the race under yellow. It was quite a spectacle to watch, as even Nolo Hamilton, who's starting inside the top 15 today in 11th, guess what? He flipped at this racetrack in that very number 33 Gear 7 Motorsports Tim Horton Chevrolet. And he flipped right here on the front stretch. He flipped over the start-finish line. It was truly a spectacle to watch. That race is on YouTube if you'd like to watch it. But there were only 2 leaders that day, David Iller and Ryan Adema. Now, those will really be the only laps on a non-super speedway that Iller would lead. But regardless, this is an interesting event for guys like Ryan Adema, who have one win this year, but haven't been themselves. Adema's not in the top 5 in points. He's in 9th as we speak, while Dan Wilkins has led basically just every lap, not every lap at every race, but he's led laps at basically every race that we've seen, including Dover, including some other tracks on the schedule, including his win at Texas, where he won on a last lap pass over Carlos Rex. But he leads the points right now, as Carlos Rex, who is starting pretty far back in 25th, he is in 2nd in points right now. But my point is that it's time to get this race underway from Martinsville. We're going to take a look at the number 85 of Riley Wedge as we listen to the starting command of the CapitalOne 500 from Martinsville Speedway.
Drivers, start your engines!
All right, boys, just like we talked about in the meeting, what's going to pay off for us today is patience and consistency. Good, smooth racing on the racetrack, and that's what will take us up to the front. We'll be there at the end of this thing.
It's Martinsville. I know people don't seem to like Martinsville sometimes for the fact that it's part asphalt, part concrete. But guess what? This is a classic old short track, and I think it deserves to have some respect on its name. We just got some lightning in the distance. I'm currently recording this during a thunderstorm, although we're at the tail end of it. Let's hope that we can get this race going under time. It's Adema, Wilkins, Aguilar, Arnsdorf, and Wedge in your top 5 as we take the green flag from Martinsville. And we already got a spin on the front stretch. It's multiple cars. Marinelli, Mahendra, Alvarez, Yu, and Segal all wreck on the front stretch. Yellow is out, headed back to the line. Aguilar's going to overtake his teammate and team owner, Dan Wilkins, for the second spot. As we have another spin up here. Looks like Charlotte Kelly, maybe. But several cars involved in this early race incident. Let's take a look at what happened. So this all happened before we even got to the start-finish line. Santiago Alvarez was making it a 3-wide start. And then everybody bunched up back here. Even Charlotte Kelly got spun at the top of your screen. So the 15, 42, 16, 5, and 47 all got caught up in that. Let's take a look at that from another angle, see what happened. I mean, you can see it's pretty straightforward. They're literally 3 wide when they take the green flag, and then Alvarez tries filling a hole that's not there. And then the 0-1 of Charlotte Kelly also got turned, although not completely, by that looked like the 4 of Sam Joseph. Several cars down in pit lane, including the 85, 98, 65, and Amelia Nielsen, along with last week's winner, Doug Doering. Although I have to say, for Ryan Adema, it's a good start for him. This is a good start for Ryan. He hasn't won, like we said, since he won at his home track, Homestead Miami Speedway, where he led a decent number of laps, but it was overall one of the better races of the year. A very good start for him. But he's also got a fellow Dodge behind him in second, Luis Aguilar, who his last win was on a short track. His first win was on the last lap pass, thanks to the pit lane incident and the crash at Sonoma in a Toyota Save Mart 350. But that was a kind of completely different case because one car, I believe it was a 62, wasn't really looking where he was going, and then a car came out of pit lane and basically imitated Kevin LePage at 2008 in Talladega, which that was an interesting situation. But regardless of how you perceive that incident at Sonoma, Aguilar won that race, and then a little bit later on in the season at the Capital Health 300 at Flemington, he took home his second career win and his second win of season 2. As the pace lights are still on. As far as I'm concerned, all of our cars are still in the lead lap, but Ryan Adema leads with a Dodge, Ford, Dodge, Chevy, Toyota, and Chevy in the top 10, and then another Chevy in 11th and 12th and 13th. We get back to a Ford in 14th. Pace lights are off, so we'll be going green next time by. So an early caution involving Rash Mahendra, Santiago Alvarez, Charlotte Kelly, Sam Joseph, and more. And how about that? That was an early green flag call, but we're back underway. I didn't even see that. They were basically gassing it in turns 3 and 4 in the apex. Adema with a good jump. And now Adema's going to pit lane. I think he jumped the restart. And now the yellow is out. for another spin back here. Looks like maybe Charlotte Kelly again. Although I'd like to know what in the world actually happened. It looks like maybe JJU. Oh, this happened up in turn 1. 62 of Brendan Wilmington got turned by the 70 of Brandon Allen. This was right at the start, too. I mean, Wilmington is nowhere near the lead in 29th, and then gets rubbed up against the wall. There's Echo Ross, and then 70 of Brandon Allen as well. So another caution, but Ryan Adema on pit lane. He will just barely leave ahead of the pace car, but I want to see what happened at the start of that green flag cycle, since I want to know when we went back green. There was no way he couldn't have jumped that restart. Like, when did we go back green? That's the question. I would really like to see. Yeah, the green light is on while they're in turn 3, so that is the weirdest thing I've ever seen, really. But regardless, it looks like the leader will now be Dan Wilkins, as most likely the case is that Ryan Adema was black flagged. So we're going to go green next time by again. Dan Wilkins, your leader, although look who's moved up to 3rd place. It's Christian Coppola, and Felipe Ford is in 4th. Caleb Marinelli in 6th. Echo Ross in 7th. How about this? This is going to make an interesting restart as we're back under green again. Oh, you have to be kidding me. They are throwing the green flag really early. I've never seen anything like that in my life. Coppola and Buck battling for the 2nd spot. Be back under yellow again? No, not yet. And now Dan Wilkins is going to pit lane. So I guess whoever takes the green flag as the leader just automatically gets black flagged, as Christian Coppola is going to lead some laps. Christian Coppola won stage 2 of the All-Star race on the Roval. He has not won a race in his career, as Amelia Nielsen tags the wall. As there's Caleb Marinelli in 2nd. I mean, what a weird start to this race. Ryan Adema, your pole sitter, right now hanging on barely to the lead lap in 35th, and then Dan Wilkins behind him. Actually, they're still both on pit lane. Look at that. They're not even on the lead lap. They're just on pit lane. There's the 55. Both of the leaders really getting screwed over. As now might be a spin. Oh, there is a yellow flag out on the racetrack, as in the middle of everybody pitting. I believe this might involve the 5 or the 85. Now these guys are going to all have to do a stop, as 07 just slammed into the back of him. Got to see what happened here. I don't know what exactly did happen, but I saw it was on the backstretch. just trying to see. Oh, the 85 and the 5 did get together. Because the 5 went high and got together that way. Okay, and this was just as the leaders were passing by. Or actually, no, that's the pole sitters. The 0, 0, and the 92. As now, because, again, this was in the middle of the weirdest pit cycle we've really ever seen. This is going to mean that Armin Salvador, I would presume, takes the lead. And then Felipe Ford, who, I guess among these drivers, is considered a backmarker. He's never led a lap, even on a super speedway. And he's usually always at the back of the pack. Heck, he qualified outside the top 35 for this race and wasn't, I believe he was like 38th or 39th fastest in practice. But right now, because of dubious, and I mean dubious with an exclamation point, circumstances, he's going to be in second. Echo Ross is going to be in third. And remember, she led some laps at Charlotte, which was just her second career race. She also led some laps at South Boston. So besides Dover, she's led 2 out of the 3 points-paying races that she's been in, although she was, way too new to the series for her to be in the All-Star race or the All-Star Open. Just couldn't make it on points or any professional. But again, in third with a good opportunity. To lead some laps, to get some points. And then Nolo Hamilton in fourth. Matthew Green, I would presume. Oh boy. 21 laps in and already 23 cars are just remaining on the lead lap. So this is going to be an interesting way how they evolve in this caution. As now remember, with BC rules, cars go to the back of the pack. So Jesse Owens Jr. is going to go back, and this... Okay, so they're bringing the yellow back out because these cars stopped on the front stretch because they don't know how to get into a double file line, and they also don't know how to get into proper restart formation, even though they've done this several times before. So everyone has to get caught back up. So this always takes an extra lap. Pace car lights are out again, and this would mean that Nelson Reeves is in 5th. Although he qualified 30th, he had some bad luck here, although he was doing pretty good on short tracks like South Boston until he got wrecked out. And now, we going back green again? We gonna try this again? Okay, they're back green again. Okay. Top 5 is the 52, 07, 39, 33, and 10. Back under green on lap 24 of 150. So now Salvador's coming down pit lane again. I cannot believe that I'm seeing this. It's amazing. It is amazing. And now Felipe Ford has led his first lap in the MSCCT. We back under yellow again? No, we are not. And now Reeves is going to take the lead away from him. And Hamilton's going to get in second. It's just hard to tell when an actual yellow is out, because I have to look at this, that Monster Energy sign that says that, the yellow is out. It's now side by side for the lead. It's Reeves and Hamilton. Hamilton to the lead. Remember, this is a good redemption story because Hamilton was the same driver that flipped across the front stretch here same time last year. Now he's got a decent lead over Reeves and Sarah Feng, who is now going to take second away. But now Felipe Ford can say that he's led a lap in the MSCCT, just like I believe Kurt Busch when he was with Phoenix Racing. He led a lap at Talladega in 2012 in the unsponsored Phoenix Racing entry. Kind of reminds me of Felipe Ford in a way, because it's, you know, low funding. It's not like Sooner State Racing is a low-funded team. They used to lead laps with Jackson Snyder all the time. And then everything kind of went downhill, and now the 84 of Dakota Bennett is in 16th, which is kind of unlikely circumstances because, again, they qualified dead last in 42nd. And then, again, you have their 07 entry who's in 4th and holding off Darian Arnsdorf in 5th. And it's not usual. It's not usual to see lapped cars just like 5 or 6 laps after a green flag came out. And this is always the toughest part of getting around lap cars, is when you have folks that are side by side, like the 52 who was in 25th and Riley Wedge. They are battling for position, but so is the leaders. So you have to take priority here. Are you going to prioritize your position, or you are going to prioritize you not screwing up the leader? And I think if you're the 85 of Riley Wedge, you're just going to prioritize not screwing over the leader. Although that did help Sarah Feng in a way, because I think she's closing in a little bit. That last lap, she was 0.69 or 0.7 seconds behind, basically a quarter of a second, just less than that. And now, this time through, it is less than half a second. And as lap traffic goes through, if Sarah Feng can get an advantage, it will definitely help her down the road. As this might be a situation like Bristol, where these lapped cars are pretty stubborn in how they get around these cars, and you have to work with the lapped cars. You might, you know, have a teammate who can easily get out of the way, and then you might have a rival or somebody who you're not too friendly with, and they might not be as hesitant, or they might not be as resilient to give you up that spot. Like, for example, Brennan Wilmington is getting lapped right now. He is the last guy on the grid. He just got sent 5 laps down. And his teammate, Nelson Reeves, is in 3rd, and he's just a few car lengths back down the backstretch. Just a few seconds back. Once Reeves gets up to the 62, I'm sure the 62 is going to have no problem letting Reeves by. Because, like, look at this. He's going to have no problem with it because, look, it's Pacific Racing. These guys are pretty friendly with each other. I've never really seen anybody in that Toyota clique have any conflicts with each other. It's not like JGR where Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin are constantly bickering at each other. It's a different deal. It's a different style. These guys basically have a family bond to them. But lap 41, we're about to hit lap 42 of 150 from the Capital One 500 at Martinsville. I wouldn't be surprised, though, about Sarah Feng, though, in the 93. because she's won on short tracks before. Every single win of hers is on a track that's under 1.5 miles. Her first career win was to kick off the second half at Phoenix in the O'Reilly Auto Parts 400, and then this time around it was the CarMax 600 at South Boston, and now again it's the Capital One 500 at Martinsville. So who's to say she can't pull off another one? Although that would be a very good stretch, Daniel Rivera-esque, of pulling off these wins, as here she comes to the inside of the 93. She's getting close. She's coming. She is really close to getting there. As they pass the 30 of Doug Doring in 34th, he is really far back. Again, 3 laps down. As now the next guys I have to worry about are the last cars on the 1-lap bubble before they go down 2 laps. The 52 and the 80, even the 94 of Adeline Galvin. That was really close for Sarah Feng. She went down to the inside of the 33 and just could not make the pass, although looks like Nelson Reeves is getting a good run past the 30. He's got some right side damage, but he's less than 2 seconds back. Don't be surprised if there's a caution if he makes a good move for himself. This would definitely be good for him. I mean, really what the 93 is waiting for is to either get an amazing run off the corner, wait for the 33 to get held up by a lapped car, or wait for the 33 to mess up like he did earlier, where the 93 was able to get down on the inside on the sole precedent that the 33 messed up and went to the middle lane when he was trying to hug the bottom. Speaking of bottom, let's check in on the 11 of Daniel Rivera, who's led 2 races this year, currently in 31st, although that is not a good situation for him. He is 2 laps down, not too far away from getting 3 laps down. And right now, I mean, for Daniel Rivera, he's tied with the most wins with Creed Daniel, and look, it's 2 Toyotas on the same team. Look, you know, we get it. It's a good situation for Pacific Racing, who's won so many races this year. They lead all teams and manufacturers in wins this year. And let's check in on the rest of Pacific Racing while we are at it. So the 11 of Daniel Rivera in 31st, as we still are looking at Nelson Reeves in 3rd. The 62 of Brennan Wilmington in 42nd, all the way back 5 laps down, the only guy 5 laps down. And then where is he? The 65 of Creed Daniel in 28th. He is 2 laps down. So, I mean, look, Pacific Racing has had some great runs, as we are under caution for, looks like, a big incident involving Dakota Bennett, our last place starter tonight, as this is a doozy. It's a big crash here for the driver that was running in 16th, so looks like Dakota started blowing up in the front stretch going into turn 1. That already left some oil on the track, and then the situation only escalated when she tried to go down and then got spun by the 23, 42, 27. The 70 got pounded, and the 00. Wow. And then, the 85 and the 10 got together. And how did the 07 get past that 85 without absolutely getting killed? So we were talking about cautions. How about this? We're back under yellow for the 3rd time on lap 53. And Nolo Hamilton's going to win the race off of pit road. Then after that, Felipe Ford in 3rd. How about that for a comeback story? He was up, down, down again, and up again. So he will be in 3rd after taking the caution in 10th. We think. No, it'll be 5th, it looks like. Because the 98 and the 13 So yeah, you have some lap cars in there like the 7 and the 11 and the 54, but Nolo Hamilton still appears to be the leader as we speak. It's Kyle Driscoll getting held up on pit lane, but 55 laps in at the CapitalOne 500. We've had several new leaders today, and also an interesting situation where several cars got bunched up at the start-finish line before we even took the green. I mean, we did take the green, but we only got maybe about 100 feet, 200 feet before the first caution came out. We went back under green, and then another incident happened involving Carlos Rex and Sam Joseph, and then that was the last caution until another one happened not too far after, involving the 5 of JJU and the 85 of Riley Wedge on the backstretch. Went back green on lap 24, and ever since we were under green until that big incident with Dakota Bennett. And they're going to need, most likely, an extra lap here to sort things out with the oil on the front stretch. You can imagine that's not great. I mean, Dakota started blowing up on the front stretch, which, you know, wasn't too surprising, and we can confirm that it was a engine issue for the 84, although the 27 of Amelia Nielsen is also out with a piston issue. Although this is very concerning to me how it's saying that we only have 9 cars on the lead lap, although that's probably because I think pit cycles were just starting as this was happening. So here's what they're going to do, because they're going to give a lot of these drivers a wave around. Whoa, the leader, Nolo Hamilton, just slammed into the back of the 29 of Ronnie Martin. They were supposed to bring the yellow back out to give everyone basically a little bit of a boost and a wave around. But I don't think that's what actually happened. I just think people got too chaotic instead and are now stopped up on the backstretch. Now we are going to skip through a little bit until we can get this race back underway so that, you know, we don't have too many pace laps going on at once for our viewers. Here we go. Going green this time by, although I would keep a very keen eye on the pace cars. We might have a Season 2 Charlotte situation on our hands, because I don't know, is this a situation of these guys go to form up and the pace car automatically brings the lights back on? Watch the lights. See, they stop up here. No, the pace car is going to be in, and we're back under green again, somehow. I've never understood that in my life, but here we are. Felipe Ford just slammed the wall. And now Nolo Hamilton's going into the pits. Oh my gosh. Santiago Alvarez is going to take the lead. Why didn't I see that coming? Is Felipe Ford might take second here if he can overtake the 98 of Darian Arnsdorf. But Santiago Alvarez, who led laps at Dover, he won the All-Star race and has not won a points-paying race yet this year, but had 2 wins last year at Dover and Charlotte. Who says he can't win it on the short track? The native of Argentina. It's now the 10 of Nelson Reeves, 2 down pit lane. I don't know what this is. What is going on, but it's insanity to it. But now the 98 of Darian Arnsdorf, we've talked about him before. He has not won a race, points paying, since Season 2, Race 3 at the Walt Disney World Speedway. It's a 1-mile triangular oval that was in a Magic Kingdom parking lot and is now a Magic Kingdom parking lot. Since it was a completely temporary track, It was just a 100-lap race. Abel DeMarco led 71 of those laps, but who led the other 29? That would be Darian Arnsdorf. Because of a bad pit stop and an untimely caution, that's how we got that. That's how we got that bad pit stop from Abel DeMarco. As now, oh man, a bad corner from Santiago Alvarez. Here comes the 98 of Arnsdorf with a big run. They're side by side. That was a terrible corner from Alvarez, almost like he went straight. You have to imagine it might be something with tire wear. And on lap 69, Darian Arnsdorf will officially overtake the 16, although Alvarez might not be bowed out yet. Now the 98's going to go in for an official clearing move. As now Darian Arnsdorf, for the first time in a while, he's leading some laps at Martinsville, although it's pretty single file behind him. Felipe Ford in third, probably the best run that he's had in his entire career. Donna Wilkins in fourth, and then all the way back is Zachary Jones in fifth, and everybody else is at least a lap down, so this is going to make things really interesting, although I'm sure if you're the 98, the 16, the 07, the 13, or the 45, you don't care that there's everybody else a lap down behind you because you're the one on the lead lap. It's not like a situation where the 1950s at Darlington where I believe it was Ned Jarrett who lapped the field. Although there were several races back in the 1950s where these leaders, it was not fairly uncommon to see races where the leaders would entirely lap the field several times. I believe the largest margin is 14 laps, but I cannot remember who exactly it was. I believe it was either Buddy Baker or some Hall of Famer in NASCAR. These are the guys that are actually fighting for position right now. These guys are fighting for 6, the 8 and the 15. However, they're a lap down, so take that as you will. I mean, it's still a battle for position. Good run there by Marinelli. As Darian Arnsdorf's lead is just almost exactly a second over Alvarez. As now the lap traffic's going to start coming in play shortly, as there's the 33 of Nolo Hamilton, who is one lap down. He's the last car that is a lap down before you go to the 52, who is 2 down. There's a 98 of Arnsdorf. Man, that would be really nice for Darian if he won this race. It's been so long. It's been so long for the 98. It's not even funny. I mean, that one win, that was something else. They also have a win of their own this year at Watkins Glen in the snow race, 17 degrees Fahrenheit at Watkins Glen. Now Christian Coppola getting some service as the 87 of Jacob Thibodeau, who's in 35th, a whole 3 laps down, about to be 4, approaches the 98. Although, wow, only 5 cars in the lead lap, only 4 in contention, and 39 cars in this race, the last one being Brennan Wilmington, the 27 of Amelia Nielsen, out with piston problems, which is the first time in a while we've seen a lot of people... or we've seen, what's it called, a driver out with piston problem. Last time I saw that was probably Ronnie Martin or Doug Doering when both of them retired due to piston issues at Texas. And then Brandon Allen, as you saw, got pounded in the front end in that incident with Dakota Bennett. And then the 84 herself is out with an engine problem. Although that lead for the 98 did shrink a little. It's down to 1.16, although with the 87 modified of Jacob Thibodeau, he stands in the way between the 16 and the 98 right now. Which, for the 98, you don't really care if he might do a little blocking. Although I'm sure if you're Santiago Alvarez, you're a little ticked, but that does increase Darian's lead by about 0.3 of a second. And this is where the real lap traffic comes in, as even Zachary Jones is at risk of being lapped from 5th place. That's going to be interesting. Doug Doring in 34th, also 3 laps down. The 87 of Jake Thibodeau behind him for position, as he almost just sended it into the 30 of Doring. He almost absolutely sent it. See, the problem is here, the harder the lapped cars challenge you, the harder that they end up racing you is just more opportunity and more food for that 16 to bite on. It's bigger material for these lapped cars to really fight each other over. When these lapped cars, you know, some of these guys are 2, 3, 4 laps down. I mean, heck, Brennan Wilmington, 5 laps down. He's been that way for most of this race. When you get into these lap traffic, when you get into the meat of it all, like, the 16 is closing in. If you're a friend of Darian Arnsdorf, you don't want to do that. But if you're a foe of Darian Arnsdorf, which I don't know many people that are, you really just have to look at it from the bigger picture, really. As now, look, as I was saying, look at that. Increased almost a full half second. By the time we were done talking, 0.45, the margin that Santiago Alvarez gained on that last lap period. It's really getting contentious for Darian Arnsdorf as he gains back basically all of that margin that he had before, now up to 1.25 seconds again. 13 of Donna Wilkins in 3rd as she overtook the 07 of Felipe Ford. Yes, it's behind the rest of this pack, but still, I think the main focus is Darian Arnsdorf, who hasn't won in so long. But you know, if a caution comes out, the 98's getting screwed over, because it seems, I don't know if it's a glitch or something that's just mechanically wrong with the race cars, but when they take the green flag after a restart, the leader and maybe even the guy behind him almost automatically goes to pit lane. As there goes the 45, he officially goes a lap down. Now only 4 cars remain on the lead lap, which I think the last time we've seen this was the Figure 8 Derby in Greenville, which is the next race on our schedule. It's going to be an interesting couple of weeks in the MSCCT, at least for the rest of the regular season. It's something else, to say the least. Right now, going forward after the CapitalOne 500 at Martinsville, it is the Figure 8 Derby at Greenville Speedway in Greenville, Indiana. It's going to be a 50-lap event with hopefully lots of lead changes and hopefully nobody just dies. Then we have the Planet Fitness doubleheader at the New Hampshire Road Course and New Hampshire Motor Speedway, where the Xfinity Series race today. Christopher Bell got a win. And then the Pilot Flying J500 at Talladega, the Xerox 315 at Lime Rock Park, and then we go into the playoffs. And I know we've talked about the schedule time and time again, but still, it's just interesting to note everything that's happened. Now he works against the 47 of Aiden Segal. Although it would be something else, to say the absolute least, if Darian Arnsdorf ends up wrecking a lapped car, brings out a caution, that would kind of screw him over. Because then you get that whole pit lane kind of BS that brings out these yellows. And is a consequence and a result of them, although it's not a true consequence if it's unearned. As Darian Arnsdorf, that lead has been so up and down. It's been as high as 2 seconds. It's been as low as a half a second. But Santiago Alvarez is adamant that he can get himself back to the lead. As now Zachary Jones is coming in the pit. You can imagine green flag pit stops might be in order now, as he continues to lap some folks. Even if all of the cars that were 1 lap down got some immunity and got their laps back, that would still only bring 11 cars back to the lead lap. The 8, the 15, the 23, the 54, who started in 41st, the 19, the 05, and the 45, who's now going down the pit lane, although he might lose an extra lap from that unexpected pit stop. Right now, if we take a look at our pit lane cams, he's the only one even there, so where is the 45? He's right on the front stretch. That's interesting. And there is the 05 of Matthew Green battling for position with the 19 of Chase Buck. And as we go through the field, there's the 30 of Doug Doring going on the pit lane. I mean, the 45 isn't exactly ARE aligned, but it's a weird situation because the 45 was only really there for the purpose of filling in for Ryan Edelman, wasn't really there for any long-term effect. So if they want to form an alliance, then they can do so. It's just, not the easiest thing in the world for a team like that, a powerhouse like ARE, and a kind of midfield one-car team like USA Motorsports to get along. Although Pacific Racing has done something very similar with basically every team that bothers to field a Toyota in each race. It's kind of a weird situation, but Rashia Mahendra of Mahendra Motorsports, Echo Ross of Good Smile Racing, they all have alliances with Pacific Racing for the sole purpose of the fact that they all run Toyotas. They can find a common ground on that, whether they have anything else in common. There's Sarah Feng, who ran in second for a while today. Unfortunately, now in 31st after basically getting screwed over again, now 4 laps down. Although Doug Doring really got the short end of the stick, now 6 laps down in 39th as Brennan Wilmington not too far behind, keeping his position, although he gained 1 spot from the fact that Doug Doring is now 6 laps down instead of 5. There's Darian Arnsdorf again. Now only 2 lapped cars separate the 16 and the 98, as the 98's maybe having some tire wear issues. As you can tell, he's been running the top line a lot instead of the bottom line, although he gets back to the bottom in this corner. He's got the 47 behind him and the 77, although the 16 is now trying to overtake Darian's teammate, the 77 of Logan Williams. As we're at 48 laps to go from Martinsville. The 85 might be an obstruction to the 16 as well, as it looks like this finalization of this overtake. And he's going to clear him, although Williams not going down without a fight, because there's a trade-off here. You can spin your teammate you can spin out another car to bring out a caution, but I'm sure that'll bring ire from everyone, and also it'll probably end up locking you up with a penalty. Lead now down to 1.4 seconds. In third, as we said, Donna Wilkins, and in fourth, Felipe Ford, probably the best run of his career for Sooner State Racing. The native of Chile, really having an amazing run today. And how about our inside pole setter, Ryan Edelman, not too far up in 14th. He is 2 laps down, and then double zero of Dan Wilkins all the way down in 37th. Not a good run for the points leader today. 5 laps down after being lapped by Arnsdorf. And basically everybody else on the lead lap as well. As now that lead, again, very much fluctuating. It was 1.5 seconds, then it was 1.4, then it jumped to 1.07. Now it's kind of stabilizing at 1.13. And after Arnsdorf gets by Ronnie Martin, this will be pretty simple for him to basically cruise, as you have the 42 and the 87, and that's about it. Now, does he jump to the inside here? Because, again, still 2 lapped cars separate the 16 and the 98. The 93 of Sarah Feng, the 85 of Riley Wedge. As now the 93 is going to try to unlap herself, bring herself all the way up from 4 laps down to 3 laps down. A little effort won't hurt, though, as 98 trying to shove it in there with the 29 of Ronnie Martin. This is easier said than done, though, I think. 29's got a good run, and it's not like he has any more or less damage than Arnsdorf does, although I'm just worried about pit stops, that's all. Because you know they're going to be coming, but just will they be at a unfortunate time, or will it be actually timed right this time around? Although this race is looking a lot like Martinsville Season 2, where there were cautions bunched up early, and then that last kind of 70% of the race was all just a green flag run. Which is good for some teams, bad for others, especially if you're somebody like Felipe Ford, who's now 7 seconds off pace. He's not 7 seconds yet, he's at 6.68, and as he completes his lap, yeah, 6.87. Maybe the 87 of Jacob Thibodeau can be some assistance to Santiago Alvarez. You don't know. Jacob Thibodeau could not afford to build a entire race car by himself since he brought this car over from Dover. So he's running an intermediate car on a short track. Now, this is because he spent all of his money on his girlfriend, who we'd love to have in this league, although we've extended a formal offer. We haven't received any official word. But we like messing around with the 87 because he's got a cool mustache. That lead is now 2 seconds for Darian Arnsdorf over Santiago Alvarez, and now it's 3 seconds. It jumped a full second in 1 lap. Can you believe it? He's going to go to the inside here. Oh, Jacob, he's making it a little rough for the 98. He's making it a little bit harder than it was supposed to be. Oh boy, here comes the 93. Everybody's just messing with the 98, and this is not helping. It's 3.32 seconds, so they have basically an entire backstretch with nothing. But still, this is not what you want if you're the 98. You don't want to have to race these lapped cars hard. You just want to be able to have them get out of the way and not have to worry about it. But Santiago Alvarez is running faster laps, at least maybe inconsistently, when compared to the 98. So if he can get around the 85 of Riley Wedge, then he can be set sail and run some qualifying-esque laps and try to pass the 98. If you're to 16, all you got to be thinking about is how I can get around the 85 without wrecking him, how I can get to the 87 without wrecking him, and how I can really put the pedal to the metal when it comes to these next couple of laps. Because you cannot be taking this conservatively if you're to 16 or to 13. If you're anybody behind second right now, I would just be banking on a caution, because that might propel you to the lead like that. There's Leland Hill on pit lane. I mean, I see some guys pitting, but it's very, very sporadic. So it makes me think that just maybe, Darian Arnsdorf or Santiago Alvarez could be pitting soon, and this could mean we're down to a strategy point, which we haven't seen yet, but very well could going forward. Here's the 85 passing the 87. As now the 85 with trouble. And now there's a caution on the racetrack. We have somebody blowing up, I think. I didn't see it, but everybody dove to the inside. Was it the 65 of Creed Daniel? Yup, the 65 of Creed Daniel blew up from the 15th position. This is the second race in a row that he's had engine problems. And this is why everybody was ducking to the inside, because he parked the car on the grass. There's his team owner. And then here comes the 98. He just missed him. He barely missed him. And that's why the yellow is out. Creed Daniel blows up. And we're back under yellow for the 5th time. This is incredible. Look at that. That's incredible. I cannot believe what I've just seen. And this might help some lap cars. It very well might. Darian Arnsdorf is on pit lane. How about everybody else? Where's the 16 in all of this? 16's also on pit lane. How about the 13? 13's there. How about the 07? Basically, everybody on the lead lap is staying out. Or, excuse me, everybody on the lead lap is coming in, and everybody else is staying out. Probably because they can't pit yet. Because only cars on the lead lap are allowed to pit first. But yeah, here comes everybody else. I thought this would be a situation where almost everybody would get their lap back, but this is not the case. You're just going to see all the lapped cars coming in, since only 4 cars are on the lead lap. My goodness. What a turn of events. Lap 123 of 150 from the CapitalOne 500 as Darian Arnsdorf gets the break that nobody wanted. Being the leader under yellow, which most likely means that you're going to have to serve some bullish black flag penalty, which could mean that Santiago Alvarez could be the leader, could mean the 13 of Donna Wilkins could be the leader. This is, my goodness, wow. This could change everything. Really could. Now remember, BC rules are in effect, which means that green-white checkers can be put into play if necessary. Everybody's trying to get around these lap cars. There's the 2 VBM cars, the 52 and the 93. Where's the pace car up here? Okay, so pace car's collecting the field, but these leaders are nowhere in sight. The 47 just stopped. Yeah, they're going to need an extra lap, maybe 20, to sort everything out. Yeah, look at this. They're at a... oh, the 13. Wait a second. Did the 13 crash? Or no, I don't think the I don't think the 13 crashed. I just think that they're all stopped up here to let these guys by. But now they're on pit lane because they were stopped for too long, so it will be a penalty. This isn't kind of a break in the fourth wall moment, but if you spend too much time stopped, the game thinks that your car is dead and just propels you back to the pits. That's the situation we have. As now the pace car is back. No, they cannot go green flag racing. And they will not. I think the 16 overtook the 98 at the line. That should not have been called a green flag. They needed to get everybody back to where they were rolling. That should not have been called a green flag. I mean, everybody was bunched up there. The 13 went a lap down because she was stopped on pit lane for too long, which should not have been called. Where's the 07 in all of this? He's somewhere. The bronze Chevy. Where is the 07? No, he's right there. Okay. But still, that's... oh, man, that really sucks. And what's even worse is that the 98 of Darian Arnsdorf is now kind of screwed over because he was overtaken at the line. They took like 5 seconds for the yellow flag to be called after the green flag was called too early. Now we are going to go back to what we were doing before with the pace car and kind of simulating laps here to make the time go by a little bit faster. 129, 130, 131, 132. Okay, here we go. They might need an extra lap here, but they might be okay. I don't know. Is this going to be a 2-lap? I cannot believe what I'm seeing. The 16 and the 98 are going to be side by side for the lead, with everyone else behind them having to wait. This is incredible. Green flag is back out on lap 133. It's a 2-car battle for the lead, and that's it. The 98 and the 16 are side by side with 27 laps to go, as they're almost wrecking back here. The 67 of Lattimore Now the 16's going to go to pit lane. So now the tables have been turned, and the 98 can sail free. Oh my goodness. I was here thinking all this time that Darian Arnsdorf would be messed up and having to go to pit lane. Well, guess what? By allowing the... Nope. Here we go. Now the 98's coming in a lap after him. I called my bluff too early then. Both the 16 and the 98 are on pit lane. The 07 of Felipe Ford is going to be in the lead. He is in the middle of that pack, as I think everybody else is barely even in the picture. This is insanity. As now everybody's getting, whoa, 33 and a 52 made some contact there on their quarter panels. And now the caution is back out. There's a spin. Callan Fleming in the wall, 7th caution. This was for 22nd. 14, the 8 and the 80, 62 helped the 8 around. Caution is back out. I cannot believe this. Oh no! I cannot believe what I'm seeing right now. The 07 of Felipe Ford, who led some laps early, but I thought, you know, this would just be like Kurt Busch leading at Talladega with Phoenix Racing. No, he's genuinely got a shot of winning this race. This is insane. And then the 19 of Chase Buck, who has a career win of his own at Atlanta in Season 2, in that very orange race car. Although, no, he had that white Reese's chocolate, or not Reese's chocolate, Hershey's chocolate paint scheme when he won at Atlanta, and he ran that same one when he finished 2nd in the Season 3 Atlanta race, so you know where he's best at. But he's on the other side of the racetrack, because there's the 07, here's the 19 on the other side of the earth. And then everybody else is a lap down. Matthew Green is in 3rd, but has no shot of really winning. This is insane. I just can't believe what I'm seeing. I mean, that wreck was partially a result of everybody being in a panic. And now, so unexpectedly, Felipe Ford, with less than 15 laps to go, we have 12 laps to go as we speak, could potentially win this race in the most shocking fashion ever imaginable. We didn't say Martinsville was bad, but we didn't say it was uneventful. Because this is definitely eventful when a back marker, the equivalent of a back marker in a league where basically everything is equal, except for team upgrades. In a league where the stats are close enough to where everyone can be competitive, now makes it extremely, and I mean extremely, important that this is going to be, oh my gosh, this is incredible. Now the pace lights are off, although that might be a bluff, since we've seen basically every single time that the pace lights come off, they come back on again after one lap, or after half a lap, because, yep, here we go. The 93 and the 15 just, that wasn't what I was expecting, though. Usually it's because they can't file up right. This was because the 15 just slammed into the back of the 05. That was what was up. Although everybody's got to get back to the, everybody's got to get back to where they were anyway. When it came to bunching up again, the 19 has to get up there somehow. But I don't know how, if I'm being honest with you. Like ooh, this is tough. Is the pace car off? Oh my gosh! Wait a second. Where is everybody? Where's Where's the 07? He's on the backstretch. Everybody just took the green flag up here without any real warning, and the 07 is right behind him. There's no way the 07 just gets away with this, though. Like, they're going to call him in for a black flag. Watch this. Right here. Right now. No? Oh my gosh. They're going to let Felipe Ford get away with this. Although this could be Matthew Green might be the leader. If something catastrophic happens. Because I think Felipe Ford's getting called in. Hold on. Let's see. Watch this. No, he's not. Oh my gosh. They're not going to bring in Felipe Ford. This is incredible. This might be the best display of holy crap racing that I've ever seen. HCR, holy crap racing. Now is he going to come in? No, he's not coming in. That is incredible. Felipe Ford now has 5 laps to go before a possible 2 cars on the lead lap win at Martinsville as he blends in with the lapped cars here. This is, oh my gosh. And in second, like we said, is Chase Buck, who's up here somewhere. There he is. He's all the way up there. Felipe Ford could lap him himself. Who thought we would get a wacky winner at a short track just like this one? Although there's still time for something insane to happen, I'll tell you that. It's still possible. Three laps to go for Felipe Ford, the native of Chile. We've had several South American winners this year because Santiago Alvarez won the All-Star race. He's from Argentina. Ronnie Martin won in Atlanta. He's also from Argentina. This is our first ever Chilean racer in MSCCT history. And now, this is incredible. He will take the white flag. One more lap to go for Felipe Ford. In one of the wackiest races I've ever seen, with ups and downs and incredible lead changes. If you have Felipe Ford winning at Martinsville on your bingo card, I think you've just won $1 million. Felipe Ford will come off of turn number 4 and win in the Sutter State Racing entry at Martinsville. I am shocked. Chase Buck still has to come around the finish, and he will be second. Matthew Green will be third. Darian Arnsdorf in fourth, and Caleb Marinelli with his first career top 5 in a car that looks like Carlos's from Watkins Glen. But Felipe Ford, in an absolutely incredible comeback story, wins at Martinsville. You couldn't do that 1,000,000 times if you've tried. But now, we will go to the pure epitome of chaos next week at the Figure 8 Derby in Greenville, Indiana. So until then, this is Dan Wilkins of the Modern Stock Car Cup Tour. You just watched history. Watch it again next week in race 17.